Imagine thinking less of yourself when drawing cartoons only to illustrate a masterpiece for not just Museum of Illusions but Kenyan Originals, Nescafe, and other legendary and not so ordinary projects. In this episode, Brian Omolo, an award-winning digital illustrator, gives us a so much needed take on how your degree can work for you. On a journey of self-discovery, Brian is mentored early on by an artist he looked up to, helping him to navigate his path as an artist. He gives a mix of his glory and lowly moments that all build him to gratefulness and greatness. Brian, welcome to the show. Is your degree really working for you or you're working for it?
Okay. There's a short answer and long answer.
Yes.
So I think that question, I've gotten it a few times, and I think, and I want to empathize. I think people who have that question in mind are usually people who've gone through some bad education experiences.
Right.
So they're really questioning, is this thing worth it? Have I wasted time? Have I wasted money? And I empathize with that because I've had bad education, I've had good education. So I think if you've had those bad experiences, it can make you see, is this thing worth it? I think it all just depends on a case by case basis. I think education is only really worth it when you're studying something that's really close to what you're gifted at.
Right.
So close to your gift, close to what you've discovered is your purpose. That's when you'll get the value out of it. But we've had people who pursued education for some wrong reasons or reasons that are not actually what education was designed for. So you'll do education because you think, oh, if I have that degree, I'll get a promotion here, I'll get this job. So people like those are a lot of times finding the whole experience was not as worth it. You know, like you have friends who decide to do medicine because they thought doctors always make a lot of money. But now we have doctors who are struggling for jobs, they're moving to other counties, all this kind of stuff. So I think it's only works for you if you're studying what is close to your gift and close to your purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Today we live in a digital age where inspiration is only a click away. And for me, I think my journey into discovering your work goes back to my college days when I was still learning graphic design. I remember attending an exhibition at ADMI called Glitch, where my brother Fladwell was showcasing. He sent me to represent him. And from that moment, I began seeing glimpses of the bold, creative, and thought-provoking work that you continue to create. But beyond the illustrations, beyond the collaborations, the amazing projects, who really is Brian Omolo?
Brian Omolo is many things. I'm a firstborn of 3.
Yes.
I'm a born again Christian. I love watching football, Manu.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
I love football. I love Kenyan culture. I love creating.
Right.
I love when people are sort of free and discovering their true selves. I think I've been on that journey of just expressing myself, trying different things. It's been a crazy adventure. I've learned new things. I've also learned just life, like how we can be there for others and how others are sometimes there for us. And all that has sort of led to where I am now.
Right.
And I imagine there's new things I'll still discover.
Right.
So the story is still being
So you're on a
written.
journey.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'd say it's been a journey. Yeah, it's been an adventure.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that moment that really defined or like stamped that identity of that this is who I am and this is what I would want to pursue?
I think there were several. Like some people, they have one. I think me, those just little clues of things. Like I've told many people before. For me, creativity started with cartoons.
Yes.
Shout out Club Kiboko. Saturday morning.
What? Will you watch Club Kiboko?
I loved it. Like Saturday morning was always cartoons.
Yes.
So you watch cartoons.
Yeah.
You would record on a cassette.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? Because sasa ni zile maenzi. Ukisikiza cassette.
So you record on a cassette,
Yes.
and then now, because now I can pause afterwards. If I like this scene, I pause, I try and draw. So my parents saw that, and then they took me to schools which were big on creativity. So
Wait, then
yeah,
like your
yeah.
parents supported you from then?
Yeah, 1,000%. So
Okay.
so that kind of led them to take me from, because I started school in Kilimani Junior. Then I was taken to St. Mary's. And that's when I was like, yo, like school can actually not just be school. It can be more. There's more than what you're doing on pen and paper or in the books.
Right.
It's supposed to be that whole experience.
Right.
So that's what St. Mary's was to me. It felt like it was more than just the academics. It was a whole like experience. And in all these experiences, if you really immerse yourself, you learn a lot about yourself. Like I just learned like from early on, me, I'm more of the creative type. I love art. I always was one of the few people who did art as a subject. But
Like
the funny thing,
in 844.
I did 844 until class 7. And then that's when my parents were like, they're not so sure 844 supports art like the way they felt I needed.
Yeah.
So they started the process of looking for a GCE school. Of course, the zeros and those school fees. And then I think a principal told my folks, we're also giving the GCE here in St. Mary's. You don't have to take him somewhere else. And they were like, okay, the fees are a bit more expensive than 844, but it's a bit manageable compared to some of the other international schools. So I jump class 7, go straight to Form 1, and now I'm doing GCE. And it's true, their art program was more intuitive, more creative, we learn how to express ourselves. First we're taught the basics, like how to draw, how to use different mediums. I learned early on that I love dry medium. I don't like paints. Like what? Paints, watercolor. Like I just felt like I had no control. So I'm trying something, it backfires.
Yeah.
So the crayons, the watercolor pencils, the pens, the pencils, I felt more comfortable there. Then we started doing abstract. And then that's when I was like, yeah, this... Because before, and you're in a class where you're few of you and then it's all boys, it's a boys' school. Of course, people are competitive. So we're 5 of us, everyone's trying to compete. But early on, you're just doing still life. So everyone's just drawing the plant. And after all, we've all worked hard. We all just have a plant.
Yeah.
But with abstract, now it's like
you can
we can imagine, we can create new things. I remember I used to look at like books in the house which had like drawings of animals. So I would mash different animal species together. I think I did like an octopus mixed with a woolly mammoth.
Wow. And
all kind of different things like those. I started learning about like artists from back in the day, the Picassos. I met an art mentor in Form 2 who really now expanded my thinking. Like, you tell me, your work reminds me of Salvador Dali. So I'm like, hey, who's that?
Yeah.
Start researching. And those days, research tunaenda cyber. And then you have to print. Yeah. You choose. Yeah. Now you can save 1,000 pictures on the phone. Yeah. But back then, you'll go through and then you choose, like, these are my 6 things I like. Yeah. I print. I go home with them. I'm looking at them. I create. Yeah. And it was amazing. It was fun. But the funny thing is, even then, there was still a fear of, hey, but can I actually become an artist? Like, is this a career? Will you, like,
navigate the, like, market? Not really like market, but will you be someone with art?
Yeah. Like, I don't know anyone in my life who's, like, a professional artist, but I have that art mentor. So he's now making me feel confident. He's making me feel this thing is possible. But you're still young. You're still like keeping your options open. Yeah. You know, you're doing different subjects in school. Yeah. I remember thinking I was really good at maths, which most creatives at the time, I never knew people good at maths and they are creative. Most times they leave maths, they leave the sciences, and they focus on the creative stuff. Yeah. I was really good at maths and I was also good at art. So I used to think maths, art, architect. And my dad is an engineer. A creative who is good in maths.
Are you one of us?
And then my dad's an engineer. Yeah. So it feels like, this dream of architect. He seems proud of that idea. Right. And it's not that he's pressured me to go how he wants me to go, but there's just a thing for a boy. You feel like, if my dad approves, it seems like a cool idea. But as time goes on, I remember one moment that happened in now I've left St. Mary's. I've gone to a school called Millennium.
Wait, this was in high school.
Yes. This is high school. So I'm having an amazing time discovering my artistic gifts, like doing that with my mentor called Charles. Then I go to Millennium for Form 5 and 6. Millennium organized like a career day or something like that. Then I'm looking at the list of professionals they've brought. Nothing's really interesting me, apart from maybe someone from marketing. I was like, yeah, I guess I'll go talk to them. I mean, I'm here. Like there was probably a doctor who came. There's different professions, but nothing that was really screaming to me. Then I thought, okay, let me talk to the marketing person. Maybe the marketing person works with creatives like graphic design. I didn't even know what graphic design was that time that well. So I've gone to the room where the marketing lady is supposed to be. I enter, I find Charles. So that was another so now I see him, I'm like, niaje, we salimia now, moja mbili. And then I was like, I'm done for the day. My career day is over. Like, what are the chances I'll meet him today? So that was another day where I felt like, you know what? I think it's meant to be. Like, what are the chances that he's come and he wasn't even meant to come? So I just started to walk in that feeling. But of course, you go through tough experiences. My high school results were cataclysmic, like horrible, below basement. So now again, that's another hit.
But a calendar marks.
Hey, it was bad. It was really, really bad. So that was really tough, and I think I carried that in my shoulders like a chip on my shoulder for many, many years. So now it's not like you have many options. My mom finds out from a friend of ours, there's a college on Mombasa Road called EGT. I go there. Now I'm introduced to the world of design. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Like Photoshop, I've heard of Photoshop. I've heard of these apps where people create, but I've never really used them. I'm introduced to Mac. So it's nice, but the school itself, to be honest, I was feeling like it's boring. Like it didn't feel like guys hang out here. Like it didn't, like it felt, I don't know. Like I just felt like, nah, this is not what I dreamt of. But the education was okay. Like, so now me in my young 18, 19-year-old brain, unaanza kuhepa shule. So instead of going to class, you hang out with your friends. Like, not that you are doing anything illegal or anything, but sometimes you'll just be at your friend's house, or sometimes I'll not go. And then funny enough, those days I'm not going to school. I'm doing my own stuff. Like I'm doing t-shirt designs. I'm creating my own logos. I'm doing creative stuff. Yeah, but not in a ambitious, like, oh, I see this is the future. Let me try and get ahead. I was just like, I'm bored. This seems fun. This seems more fun than the assignment they gave me in school. So let me do this. And then you start being shown already. Charles, even as far as Form 3, Form 4, he started showing me Tao, Kirinyaga Road, River Road, Kiko, those areas where you can get affordable materials, you can print things. So now I'm excited. I'm like, hey, this design I'm learning, I can come here and print tissues. I can come here and print this. I can print mugs. So Tao is kind of fascinating me. I guess it was a different time now. Now Tao, the streets you walk, Maze, you're risking. But those days, I could go those places. So a totality of all these experiences just made it very clear that I'm meant for the arts, and this is my gift, and this is truly who I'm supposed to be.
So you've spoken from two different perspectives. One where education gave you clarity and direction, and then another where, as you advanced, there seemed to be a disconnect between what you expected and what reality looked like. And I think a lot of young people can relate to that experience. For many students in high school, they are still trying to discover themselves while at the same time being influenced by parents, societal expectations and ideas around, success or highly paying careers. So at that age, most of them don't fully understand themselves. So the realities of different industries or even how their passions connect to real opportunities. How do young people bridge that gap between what they love, what the world expects from them, and what the realities of the industry actually demand?
That's a really good question. Um, I think I think there's so many ways I could answer that. You know, there's the aspect of whether it's mentorship or guidance. Like some people are like if you're like, I was very lucky. The parents I had, they just notice, hey, you're going off rails. You know, come back, or this is actually what you're gifted at. Support that. Oh, I want a mentor. Yeah, no problem. In fact, at some point, even child started coming to my place. So if you're blessed enough to have that, that definitely makes a difference. But you don't have to wait to just for it to come. You can go seek it out.
Right.
You should always seek people who can mentor you and help you, and keep seeking until you find the mentor that's right for you. Because sometimes not all mentorships work for everybody. Sometimes you could be mentored by someone who doesn't really understand you and the work that you have. And not that you'll find someone who understands your work perfectly, but I think if you keep looking, and I think that's what you have, and even your brother has the same thing where you guys notice, this person, I can learn something from them.
Right.
This one seems, I always notice that, like you can tell people who they want to be a sponge. So I think be a sponge, and beyond even just career things, life things, learn about yourself. Like if you're lucky enough to learn about your faith, and so that it gives you a sense of this is who I am. Self-awareness is so powerful. Like the more you get to know about who you are and yourself, the more you start to even like you kind of have, like, so I can laugh now. I failed
Right.
spectacularly in high school
Yeah.
because I understand why I didn't do so well. Like I'm not beating myself up about it.
Right.
I'm like, this is who Brian is. This is his failures. This is his successes, and I'm cool with both sides
Right.
because both those things have helped me be who I am. Yeah. So
There's
discovering
fulfillment in that.
discovering those things is good. And then the other part, the people who I feel for the most is you want the good quality education. Like I was lucky enough, like AGT was good. Like I was bored and I was skiving school. But I also, there are times I applied myself there and I learned. And even if I was not feeling inspired, maybe, you know, people can only teach you what they've experienced.
Right.
So I can't expect that these teachers who they've lived and worked in a Kenyan economy to start teaching me how to do illustration, digital art, things that I'm seeing on MTV. That's not the exposure. So what I also learned from that experience was I should have just been bringing my weird, creative, different ideas to class and show these guys. Even if they're telling me to do boring book covers, I should have brought them my weird MTV inspired or pop culture inspired or whatever inspired thing to them, because that's what I eventually did. I brought my work like for my final exhibition. I was like, I might as well showcase everything. They were so shocked. They're like, Kumbe, when you're not here, you're somewhere working. So they gave me best portfolio, and that's when I was like, man. So if only I should have trusted that whatever I'm creating, there's that feeling when you're young, I'm not creating what they told me to create. So obviously they won't like what I'm creating. But then they were just like excited. They're like, okay, we didn't even know this is something. And
It's like if you don't play by the textbook, then you're not right.
yeah, but you'd be surprised. Like if you find people who really care about what you're doing, or what, like if they care about creativity, even if you're not creating what they asked you to create, they'll still be interested to see these different the detours you've taken and reward you for it.
Right.
So after that, now I took a gap year, which was another amazing decision because now I could choose. Because my parents were always like, "We want you to go get higher education, and I don't think you'll get that. We'd rather you go somewhere else and get that." So that year allowed me to get some work experience, which was really good, and then also choose your degree course without pressure.
Right.
So that year was amazing in so many ways. It was amazing because one, I learned you can waste time very, very easily.
True.
Like from October, I graduated October, AGT, that was 2008. From October until January, there's really nothing I was doing. So I realized, time can go. So now my folks are pissed. I remember even my dad and mom, but mostly my dad, alinipasha. Like it was like a January morning. Hey, you feel a fire being lit under you. So I start applying, I start sending CVs. I'm even you could tell in the email or in the cover letter, I was sounding so desperate. I get a job from KLB. I joined KLB like I think either late Feb or March, and they weren't even paying me. Like my letter probably sounded so desperate. They're like, kuja ukitaka. So me I go, me I'm happy, and now my parents are also happy. So I worked there for some time. It's a nice place. Like they're kind to people, like that gap thing you're saying. So find places which will take you as you are. Don't go to a place that wants someone who is 5, 6, 7 years ahead of your development. Because those are places where they'll inevitably be disappointed in you and then take it out on you. Like I felt disappointed some of the interviews I took that I was like, man, I wish I got to work in that agency. I wish they got a job at that design company. But now looking back, I can see even if you went there, you wouldn't have lasted even a month. Would have been fired because there's so much I didn't know. And that time there wasn't like YouTube and tutorials like there is now. So the gap, that's a problem in the gap. Like fresh out of school, you're not going to know everything you need to know. And I guess now the beauty is what you're saying. Now there is online, you can learn, bridge that gap. That time there wasn't.
So wait, there's an industry where the practicality of life happens. So at some point, reality hits you, especially here in Nairobi. Hakuna mchezo. You graduate and then you're handed your tools, your degree, your qualifications, and suddenly it's like, okay, now survive. And then there's pressure to earn. And then there's pressure to also become stable. There's pressure to prove yourself, and life starts moving very fast. At the same time, you mentioned something very important: self awareness, and all these other factors that shape who a person becomes beyond just a degree. So while someone is trying or still going through the educational journey, life itself is already demanding results from them. Now, for creatives, sometimes, there's room to create opportunities independently. You can build something from your ideas or your skill or your craft. But for someone pursuing careers like maybe medicine, engineering, business management, or other structured professions, there is usually a system they have to go through. Somebody has to let you in. You have to follow the stages, gain experience, and grow within those existing structures. So for someone who has the degree, has done everything they were told to do, has the qualifications, but somehow things still aren't clicking. Maybe the opportunities aren't coming, and maybe fulfillment isn't there, or maybe they feel stuck still. What do they need to do to reposition themselves to move forward?
By clicking, you mean the advancements are not happening, or you yourself internally you're feeling this is not what's for me? Or do you mean by clicking?
Both. And in this case now, relating it to the job market, how do you practically use your degree or qualifications to position yourself for meaningful work? Because at the end of the day, people are not just looking for employment, they're looking for something that gives them a sense of purpose, fulfillment or identity. So, how do you find that balance between the realities of the job market and pursuing work that genuinely feels aligned with who you are and what you truly want to do?
Um. Okay. So I'll answer the first part. There's a part where you have the studies, you're trying to advance, and the advancements are not happening. And that's really tough, especially like at the beginning. Why should I trust you? Like by the time someone started their company, or like if it's a doctor example, like before they give you a chance and you're handling patients, they really want to see something that will help you, help them feel like they can trust you. And for some reason, maybe a degree is not enough for them to trust you because so many other people also have degrees. I mean, it's tough. I think you can be strategic. Strategic is important. Like be strategic. Try and figure out what are some things. Maybe the problem could be how you're presenting yourself.
Okay.
Maybe your CV just looks bland. Maybe there's experiences you've had that you didn't even think were a big deal. You volunteered in high school. You were part of the guys who are doing those, the kata those rabbits. You not highlighted that. Or maybe when you're in uni, you volunteered at a home, or you did some free hours at a clinic. I think there could be things you've done which would be attractive and you've not mentioned them. Make sure you mention them. Make sure your CV is targeted. Like Don't give me 4 pages.
Right.
You're not a president. Nowadays, 1 page. Even me
Yeah.
now, if my CV goes beyond 1 page,
Yeah.
that's too much.
True.
People are not even reading the whole page.
Mm.
People get to like a quarter way or halfway. They've already decided whether they want to talk to you or not.
I didn't know presidents had CVs.
Like too many pages. Like I sometimes see CVs and I'm like 4 pages. Like,
Yeah.
bro, I won't even read your first one. That's because these people who could be giving you a promotion or
Yeah.
your appointment or whatever,
Mm.
you always have to imagine these are people who have like inbox 70 minimum,
True.
if not 500,
True.
if you're counting all the different subscriptions that are sending them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just have so much on their mind
Yeah.
that if at all they have time to look at your thing, they don't have a lot of time. Their attention will go like that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing which I think can work is to just be of service.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you don't have work,
Mm-hmm.
volunteer,
Right.
help,
That's a good point.
be someone's apprentice.
Mm.
It can be tough. You're feeling like I'm giving all this for free, but it's not really for free because, I mean, it's for free that you're not being paid, but you're gaining a lot of valuable experience in being around those situations, being around these places. And that's going to make you more marketable. Like it's going to help you that by the time you get that first opportunity, that job, you're like hitting the ground running, or it's just going to look. And it's unfortunate that the economy has reached a point where people have to do this. I always like, there's a part of me that's also saying, but Brian, you want guys to work for free? Like,
True.
yes, you can negotiate and ensure you're getting something as much as you can. But in the event where that's absolutely not possible, you'd rather take the hit and do like KLB. I started for free. After about a month and a half, they're like, hey, we really need this guy. We really value him. They gave me now the job in the salon.
How do you get like to KLB? You know,
they just sent back then there's a website called, I mean, the website is probably still there, Brighter Monday.
Okay.
Now there's so many job sites. Now guys are going to LinkedIn, Google Jobs, But back then Brighter Monday had just started. It was really doing well. Like people were posting jobs there. So I saw it and then now I sent.
Okay.
I even had to go to poster. I never went to boarding. I didn't even know how to send a letter. Wow. Like I was literally going to the people at the counter. How do I send this? And then they're laughing at me. So they're like, oh, go buy a stamp there. Or go buy an envelope there. Now put the stamp here. Now write this. Then
you had to do it the hard way.
I didn't know. I didn't even know. Like I never went to boarding, so I've never even had to tuma barua.
Yeah.
But hey, some weeks or so later, they called.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a combination of preparation, meeting opportunity.
Right.
Now, people hope that I'll do a little bit of preparation and immediately get the opportunity. But it's different for everyone.
So like you have
Some
to
people
drop
have to go
this.
through years of preparation before the opportunity comes.
You have to drop this entitlement. I don't know whether entitlement is the right word, but you kind of like feel I have this and so I should. You know, you should stop. You should drop that feeling and you go for it, you know.
Yeah, sometimes it's entitlement, and those who are entitled, that on life will just beat. They'll humble them properly.
Yeah.
Even I don't have to humble them. Like life will humble you proper. Like you think that you're on this level, you should be treated like this. Life will humble you proper. Life owes you nothing. But then there's those others who are actually putting in the time. They're doing things right. I was talking to another friend of mine who was a pilot. He's telling me, Brian, pilots are flying for free.
What do you mean?
There's times when pilots are flying for free just so that they can increase their hours. Because you're not going to get to fly those bigger planes or these bigger opportunities if you've not logged a certain amount of flight hours. And even in flight school, they'll only get to log, even if they go to school every day, they'll only log a certain amount of hours. So if a pilot is humbling themselves to do free, you start realizing maybe I have to do things like those. Or another side can be your networks. Who do you know? And not like nepotism or favors. It could just be you're going to these workshops or these events where you meet people who are in that industry. Right. And then you just try and create those relationships with them. Right. Like I didn't know you, but you came to Glitch and then we talked. And then you've still kept that a genuine, sincere, like, how can I be of help to this person? Without even hoping for anything back. And then how can I be help to other people? And then before you know it, at some point they'll just remember, yeah, this guy has always been helpful. And somehow those things that you give will one day turn around and come back. But it's tough because you're having to be patient, and then you're feeling this pressure of especially even as men, you start feeling that pressure of and get to a point where I can also help my parents. How long am I going to ask them for money? Like you start getting that negative pressure of, hey, I've reached 24, 25. Hakuna baby. I'm not paying my own rent. I'm not, yeah.
Yeah.
Those pressures now start hitting, and you start realizing it's like have grace for yourself, because understand sometimes those other generations might be directly or indirectly putting pressure on you. But just remember, them, they came from a different time. When our parents got degrees, they didn't even have to look for the jobs. The jobs were coming looking for them.
True.
I was watching Martha Karua in a CTA interview. She was talking about how back in her time, even people with diplomas, you'll find those organizations, parastatal, even coming to churches and saying, if there are people here educated with diploma, we have these roles that are opening up. The industry changes, things change, and every new generation will have its new challenges. So be self-aware of those things before you just put yourself under some kind of toxic pressure, like, hey, my dad had a house by 30 something. Mimi hata sina toothbrush.
Really?
Yeah,
It gets to
yeah.
you sometimes, though.
It does.
Particularly for us guys, like we ask ourselves so many questions. Who am I supposed to be? Saizo una dem. Na mabeshte wako labda wame make it. Like msee amepata tu opportunity hivyo sha.
Yeah.
And then you're here and you're like, what do I need to do?
shoot.
Maybe what am I not doing right? That self-awareness thing is so important, I think, because sometimes it gets to you and
it's tough. It's tough. I think for me, what I can say, so sometimes we have creatives, and creatives tend to think they're creatives and creatives want to learn from other creatives. But even creatives can learn something from corporate people.
Right.
And corporate people can also learn something from creatives. Right. And one of the things, even me, I know myself as a creative is I know I'm an individual. Right. The way I think is different. The way I do things is unique. And therefore, my path in life is also going to be unique. Hiyo mambo ya kucompare me, myself with other people niliwacha a long time ago. True. Like, don't compare your journey with others, because maybe them, they didn't come from what you've come from. Right. Maybe them, their calling is not the same calling you have. And with all those different variables together, the speed at which your things happen is not going to be the same as someone else's. What you really need is to just ensure, am I walking in line with what my purpose is? And am I growing? Am I becoming more, like, if it's your humility that needs to go up, it's if your creativity that needs to go up, if it's your sense of service that needs to go up, am I giving of all these things? And therefore, because you're going to be marked, or your life is going to count for you. Right. It's not going to count, him in comparison to his fellow graduates, they did this and this and this. True. Like, if you walk that life, like, it's me, it's me versus me. It's me in comparison to me. Like, you'll be shocked how the weight just starts to dissipate off your shoulders. You start to have grace for yourself. You start to have, like, kindness to yourself. And you have kindness to yourself, you can also then be kind to others. So every time people just interact with you or around you, they feel themselves like lighter, they feel themselves encouraged, they feel themselves. I think that ultimately that's what we are meant to be as people. Like, you're walking in gratitude. You're not thinking, I really wanted that thing, I didn't get that thing. You're thinking, I didn't get that thing, but I also still have these other things. Other countries seem to have economies that are functioning like this, but at least my country still has this. Even though we don't have that, we still have this. You're walking in that. You cultivate that as a practice internally over time, and therefore you'll stop comparing with other people. Other guys have a win, you'll even be happy for them. You'll not be thinking, hey, we were in classmates, this one has already bought a Prado, me, I'm still driving my Nissan. You'll be happy for them. Like,
pressure.
Yeah. You'll be happy for them. Yeah.
So I've interacted with young people who will DM me asking, nisaidie kazi. But the moment you ask them, okay, what can you actually do? The conversation just goes silent. And I think that's part of the bigger issue we're seeing. There is a lot of conversation around unemployment and lack of opportunities, which is a real issue. But at the same time, many people haven't really taken time to look inward and ask themselves, what value can I create? Like, what skills do I have? What can I do with my hands, with my mind, or with my creativity? And you've talked about things like targeting, preparation, and self awareness. So, for a young person who genuinely feels lost, someone who doesn't really know who they are yet, what they are good at, or where to even begin, how do you help that person? Where should they start from?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the answers for everybody, but I can say what worked for me. Like, I think that's where now, like, my faith really played a big part. That feeling of this is who God thinks I am, and that feeling of I truly do believe every human being is created with a divine purpose. Now, some people find that purpose earlier than others. And we are, as human beings, always hard coded to compare. We compare in everything. We compare, even you'll have your podcast, it gets 20 likes. Someone else starts a podcast, it gets 2. The guy who has 2 likes thinks he's a failure because they are comparing. But out of those 2 likes, you don't know, maybe those 2 people, their lives have changed forever. So faith and a relationship with God, like for me, it's like deep down, it set this foundation of there's actually this person who really loves me. And then you start looking at all these things which are quirks about you. Like, I've never been someone who masomo. Like, I love knowledge, but a lot of the knowledge I've realized I've consumed has been visual. Like, I'll watch documentaries. I'll watch a movie. I've learned things about philosophy in that movie. Someone else ameona tu gunshot, nini. So we're different in the way we function. There's differences in the way we see the world. And that's supposed to be in service of everyone around us. Like, the way I see the world is been given to me that way, so that I can help the people I interact with. And that's the same for everybody. Everybody has that gift. And some of us struggle to find that. Some of us, there's that doubt. Some of us, like, they've been like, I truly believe people don't believe that they actually have innate gifts.
Okay.
And sometimes it's difficult. Like me, my gift was art. It's very easy to see. Mtoto anachora, ndio hiyo chora, it's looking good. But if your gift is empathy, are you really going to even sense that gift of empathy by the time you're 13, 15, 21? Maybe your friends will just tell, hey, you're a good friend. When I talk to you, I feel umeniskia. But there's some people who their gift goes unnoticed or unappreciated, or even them, they are in environments which doesn't bring that gift to life or doesn't value that gift. So they don't even think the gift is there, let alone they don't think it's valuable. Some don't think it's valuable. Majority don't even think that gift is there.
Wow. So there is something about your environment that really like shows you who you are.
Yes. Yeah. Some of us, maybe education system, you're all expected to perform the same way someone else performed. We are giraffes trying to climb trees. But a giraffe was meant to do what a giraffe does. A giraffe can sleep while standing. But if it's graded on how well it can swim,
then it's a failure.
It
won't be living out what it's supposed to be.
Me as a creative, of course I'll fail in chemistry. I'm not meant to be a chemist.
2 times 2.
I was not meant to do those things. So some of us, we are still stuck in that place, unfortunately, where we were graded badly, where we were assessed badly, where people did not identify our unique innate gifts.
So more or less, like, I'm looking at education, or in this case, school, is supposed to be a platform where it supports or cultures or brings out that which you already are. It's not supposed to give you who you're supposed
I guess it can also give you, because I remember there's another teacher, she used to give us a hard time. She was called Mrs. Radia.
Okay.
She was really tough, but I value a lot of the things she told us. Like, because sometimes people would be like, sometimes even as early as 14, 15, you get to Form 3, you're like, why am I studying chem? I don't care about chem.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're studying these things just so that you have some base knowledge. You don't meet a doctor one day and they're telling you about antibiotics, and then you're saying, no,
Completely.
I'll go back to my witch doctor. There's some herbs he does.
Yeah.
Na hiyo itakuwa sawa.
Yeah.
Like you desire knowledge, desire wisdom. Right. I don't need to be a doctor for me to desire knowledge in medicine. I should learn about that because I need to keep my body healthy. Desire and thirst for knowledge and wisdom. And that's something which someone can do. Some of us, and I think a lot of people, are having to correct maybe bad experiences. You're having to heal maybe bad trauma you've gone through. You're having to recorrect a bad education you got. And that's something everybody can do. Right. And I think in today's day and world, it's a lot cheaper and easier to get access to good quality education or information than what was there before. But I think it can be difficult for people to do that when they're already feeling down, when life has already given them a few blows, and maybe they're not feeling they have that support system around them. Right. And me, as Brian Omolo, I'd say it can start with you finding a genuine good church environment and being engrossed in that environment. Like a genuine church will have a community, will have people who can walk with you. Yeah. That's something me, I'd selfishly say, this is what me I think can help. But beyond even, you can do church and the community around church, be engrossed there, but also be engrossed in different environments. The other day I saw you at Films Hangout. Yeah. There's so many creative events sometimes that are happening. Yeah. If it's creativity you want to get into and find work there. Like be at these things, be on the internet, not just to watch fun TikTok. It's not bad to have fun, but also be online, learning, getting information. Yeah. Google has had a course on digital literacy for free for the last, I think, almost 10 years. Right. Engage in things like those. There's courses you can do online for free and you'll actually get a certificate. Wow. Okay. Remember the story of Nani, Yego? That story inspires me so much. Yeah. YouTube. This guy wants to be a javelin athlete. Like, who even dreams of that? Yeah. But he's still going to Casa and trying on his own, and he's getting nowhere. Yeah. And even his dad, I think, was wondering, why are you doing this sport? Like, focus on masomo. But pole pole too, now he started going online. He'd go to the cyber, learn some training techniques, go to the field and apply it. And that guy ended up being world champion. It's crazy. Yeah. Like, it's crazy how real some of these things can be. Yeah. But when you're in a surrounding where, like, sometimes also optimism can die depending on the surrounding you're in. True. And some of us are living in really tough situations where I'm not seeing hope anywhere I look around me. I look around me, I see corruption. I see people who have just been defeated in life. Like, they've really given life a true swing. And life has hit back. My encouragement can be just keep swinging, keep swinging, and go to this. Don't think that that event is like the other event. I won't find people who will encourage me there. Go to that event. Go to that service. Do, and that doing, you never know when one day, like, it will bear fruit. Right. Yeah, but it does bear fruit eventually. And be encouraged as you're going through those tough times.
There's a plot twist. There's a plot twist here. So you've talked about how, I want to take you back to AGT.
Yes, yeah.
So in AGT, we're learning. The plot twist is, you have been a teacher at ADMI.
Yes.
So now you're on the other side.
Life comes back around. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So give us both of the experiences as a student and both as a teacher.
Life comes back around. the way I tested my teachers, now even me have been tested properly.
Well, how was it?
But okay, let me just finish that education arc kidogo.
Sure.
I did AGT. It was good because it gave me the basics. It introduced me to these things. I wasn't as inspired. I found it was very boring at times. But it's mostly because my teachers weren't giving me the assignments that I would find fun to do. Okay. But it was still useful. It still helped me. I did the gap year. I worked at KLB for 4 months. Then eventually went abroad to Coventry University in the UK. I was there for 2 years.
What did you do at Coventry?
Illustration graphics.
Okay.
Yeah, so even that's why I'm saying that gap year was so important because now I could look at courses. I looked at courses in Malaysia. I looked at courses in Australia. I looked at courses in the UK. I have some aunties in the States also trying to tempt me, come, come, come. But like I looked at all those courses, but I looked at that course for Coventry and I was like, yeah, this is good because at that time I was really good at art, but now I've also learned design. But I was trying to, is there a way these two worlds can merge so that I'm not feeling like I'm too, even if you look at my exhibition for when I finished AGT, it's like there's a part for work done by hand and then there's stuff done on the comp. And I had not known, and with the way that course was written, and even there's a lady they sent to Kenya to look at portfolios, like the reaction she had from seeing my portfolio, I've never seen someone excited to see my work like that. So now, finally, that failure of high school now imenitoka. Because I've been carrying that thing also as well, like you're feeling, Maz, you're a failure, you did this in high school. Now, that's not there in my heart anymore. And then I go abroad and then my mind is just sort of really opened up. Kumbe there's all these different things. Kumbe there's digital illustration. Kumbe there's what. So that's what I was saying. Like sometimes you could be let down by education, but then there could be that moment. The right education gives you those moments of what could be all this. That's I think what I got.
It's an
abroad.
aha moment, like this is everything that there
Yeah.
is.
So now fast forward to when I decided to become a lecturer, I have all these different experiences in my mind. Even the mistakes I made are now teaching me how to be a better teacher. Like now I know, okay, if you give them a boring assignment, don't even be upset if they don't do it or they skip your class.
So they have to be as exciting just
I
as
have to give people a chance to express and do what they already want to do. By the time you're coming to a creative school, there's already something you're interested in creating. Or there's something that if you get introduced to it, you'd want to do it like this. So my assignments were very open-ended. There was categories. There was what were branding and corporate. This is the option for you. Guys, for creativity and self-expression like art, this is the direction for you. Guys, for characters and drawing stories and animation, this is the direction for you. That was the task. And that's the task, I think, for a good educator. You have to figure out, how can I give these people a challenge that allows them to express themselves as who they are, but also challenge them to reach as high a standard as they can possibly reach.
On that point, I remember when I was studying graphic design at Buruburu Institute of Fine Arts.
Yeah.
There was a unit, I think it was graphic reproduction or something related to photography, where we were still being taught film photography. I remember learning about developing photos in a dark room, using film and all those traditional processes. And at the time, I kept thinking the world has already moved so far beyond this. And that's the reality with a lot of industries today, especially design. The industry evolves so fast. Trends, tools, software, technology, even the way people consume content, everything changes so constantly. And
Yeah.
in design specifically, it almost feels like every few months there's a completely new direction that the industry is taking. So, from your perspective as an educator, how do you prepare students for the realities of the industry while still working within a fixed curriculum? Because I understand that there's a structure and syllabus that has to be followed, but at the same time, the industry keeps moving faster than the classroom. So, how do you bridge that gap and make sure that students are actually ready for the real world?
Yeah, now you're asking really, really good questions. I think for me and why I stayed at ADMI for so long was we kind of designed the curriculum ourselves. Like when you were brought in, there's an amazing principal they had from like end of 2016 until maybe around 2018. Her name was Lisette. Lisette taught us how to, because they bring you in as a pro. You've never taught a class. I even remember the first day I came, because me, I came before Lisette came to ADMI. So me, I've come, and then the Yvonne shout out. Yvonne is just taking me to classes like, oh, your students are here, they're waiting. So I paused and like, oh no, wait. And then she looked at me with that look of, don't you know what you're doing? So I didn't even say anything. I was just like, okay. Nimeingia class and I'm just like clueless, like, wait, okay, I guess I can talk about what I do and whatever. But Lisette really taught us about, as an educator,
Yeah.
this is where, like, so you start by thinking, what is a prime designer or prime creative in the end? What are some qualities they need to have? Then you can at least articulate, and as a team, not just because, in that department of design, or animation or film or whatever, you're probably a team of you of teachers teaching that thing. So you agree as a team, what are some things which are important for a graduate design diploma person to have? Fundamentals of design, typography, maybe use of color, maybe some baseline illustration, idea. You list those things. Now, because you've listed those things, you start planning out during these 4 SEMs or 5 SEMs they're with us. What units can they do that will teach them this thing by the time they're here? Then there'll be some things you discover, hey, we need more than one SEM. They can do a unit in SEM 2, another unit in SEM 4. So we started to plan those things out. We were planning them ourselves. And even the units that you're teaching, you're the one who plans out the syllabus yourself. I can't stress that enough. Like, I think any system in the world that someone somewhere created the syllabus and then you guys are told you must follow this, disaster waiting to happen, because it's not flexible enough. Like what you said, the industry is changing so fast. This syllabus that was written 2-3 years, sometimes even 10-15 years ago, is no longer relevant to the world we're existing in today. But I also don't think a school can ever be lockstep with the industry. The industry will always be a little few steps ahead. But school is not, you're not meant to be doing what is current in the world. You're meant to be taught how to think. You're meant to be, I'm meant to help you discover in all these things, which ones are you naturally gifted at? And then to help you think, now that you've discovered you're gifted in these things, what are some problems in the world that you can help solve with these skills that you have? So I don't think an educator should pressure themselves to be, you'll never be lockstep. Like if it's a race, the world is there. Me, I'm like 30, but it shouldn't be, you're not even in the stadium. There's a lot of educational systems where they're not even in the same stadium, they're not even in the same county. Wamewachwa mbali, and that's why I think it has to be disruptive. Like you have to be, and you have to also as an educator have humility and be like, some things I don't know. I've had few scenarios where I've had students in my class, they may not know it, but in whatever it is I'm teaching them, sometimes they are better at that thing than me. Like UI, I had a student who, she was a way more talented UI designer than me. So I had a moment in myself where I was like, what am I teaching her? Then I realized, even if you just give her feedback on what she's working on to help her think through something different or think through something in a different way, even if you help her with her thinking, it might not necessarily be, for you to teach Photoshop, you have to be the best Photoshop guy in the room. Maybe your gift is, some guy might be so good at Photoshop, but you put them with a client, they can't understand how to think through that problem the client has and how their Photoshop helps this problem. So there could be different things you're good at that can help that person. But have humility but the bigger, wider question is, sometimes, and even as a learner, like you'll choose a school because maybe it's famous. Someone could choose BIFA because they've seen it in the news a lot, they've seen it online. Be careful which school you choose to go to. Don't go to a school just because of its fancy name or they have a nice TikTok dance they did. Go to a school. Go to a school because you heard there's these certain lecturers there or there's this particular way they teach. Go visit that place. Go see how they go through their stuff. Then you're more likely to pick something that's
They have the
that's
material
right for
you need for what you want to do.
Even beyond material, because of course schools will never have the like there's no film school that will have the latest cameras, like even the cameras we're seeing here. They might have a few, but what's really valuable for you is for you to learn how to think and how to solve those problems, to learn the fundamentals of how to do those things, because that's the thing that can't ever really be replicated. That's the thing which when you go out there and then you'll have those fancy gadgets, you'll now be able to use those gadgets in a way that solves problems.
You mentioned earlier that when you were crafting the curriculum, there were efforts being made to align it with the times that we're in. But in some fields, it still feels like certain courses are very far behind what is actually happening in the real world today. And unfortunately, students are still the ones who eventually fill that gap the most. So, where, what then is the responsibility of the people within the system? Because I feel like there are different layers of responsibility here. There is the educator, there's the student, and then there are people designing and approving this curriculum. What role should curriculum developers really be playing in preparing students for the future? And who exactly needs to be at that table? Because when these decisions are being made, if we're talking about the next 10 or 20 years, whether in business or the creative industry, medicine or technology, the world is already changing through things like AI and automation. So, how do we begin designing education for the future instead of preparing students for a world that does not exist?
No, you're asking a good question. And I think without it being like a witch hunt where we're just pointing fingers and whatever, I think sometimes people are just comfortable with the system as it is, and they don't feel like they want, change is difficult.
Right.
Like by the time you tell me to change something, I have to change what I'm already used to and make something do it differently. Like I remember even I used to be a bit controversial where I was teaching, where like they just knew Brian Omolo does not give exams. Yeah, I don't give
That's a big
exams.
one.
Yeah, I don't do it now. In a creative school,
Huyu ndo like
no exams.
students wanamvotia
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a project and it will
Yes.
still be tough.
Yes.
It might even be tough to the point where you wish you got an exam. Because exam unafanya hiyo siku inaisha. But I just used to feel, I want to make this assignment and class, while you're creating this thing, to be as much like the real world as possible. And in the real world, you get a brief, you attack the brief, you submit it on time. So that later on, when you then actually work with professionals, you'll just see, oh, by the way, it's kind of like what we're doing in class. I show process, I show this, I show, whatever. I think everybody involved in that process. There's the educationalist who, because they might be the professional who understands this is good business, this is whatever. But the educationalist will understand how to plan it over time. You can't expect someone, there's certain things they can't learn in a month. Maybe they need 6 months. Maybe it needs to be split. It needs to be a unit. They do in SEM 1, then they do it again in SEM 3. So you need the educationalist there. You need the business people there who can tell you in this real world, this is how it is. You're still having people do exams. In the real world, it's a brief. You're setting these guys up, And then the governing bodies, whether it's the government governing bodies or whoever these people are, every good education system, they go through those things, they reform things, they update things over time. They are constantly in evolution, the good ones. The bad ones, you just notice they stay the same. No. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do away with everything you used to do before. Like you brought the point of the developing of pictures. Maybe they can still use that process, but show us how that can be useful today. Like I know in the gallery fine art world, if you're a photographer, they really respect people who do that developed photograph more than the digital photographers. It doesn't mean they don't respect the digital photographers, but they really respect those guys who go through that process. So if you're going to teach people that process, teach them that process for what it's doing in the world right now. Like if I'm going to teach people how to use illustration from paper to computer and whatever, teach them for what that problem will solve in the world right now. Don't teach them for what this problem used to solve back in the day. That day is not there anymore. Today, weddings and events and most of these photography places, they're using the instant digital one. But the developed pictures, those are being used in now things like memorabilia, nostalgic, artistic things. So if you're going to have people learn the development for what the world values in that time right now.
So, which means I can be in a history class, but the history lesson is supposed to be to show me how, I can work in the modern.
Yeah, if you're going to teach me history so that I understand.
Yeah.
This was Napoleon's strength. This was his weakness. This is where it went wrong. This is where maybe he got in ahead of his time. So then you relate it to today. Today, if you're in a company and you start becoming dictatorial, just expect your team to fail you, to leave you, to what, that's the work that people have to do. And sometimes they fall short, and that's why you start finding people saying things like, school, is it worth it? Is it, And I also think the whole idea of education being so super expensive is in itself just a very like it's almost immoral.
Is it overstretched? Like today, education.
For sure. Like, because we all want to have more.
Yeah.
We want to grow, we want to have make money. But if you make education so expensive, less people get a good education. How will you grow? Like, you want to grow your dynasty, who are you going to employ to grow that dynasty with you? You need people to learn, you need people to grow, you need people to become good at what they're doing. There's a lot of hoarding, like price out these things so not many people have access to it. But then how does that help anybody in the end? Things grow when everybody is at a capacity. You need more people to be at a capacity where they know these things, and then now that industry grows. A country should have basic education levels, healthcare levels, just enough for you to live a decent life. It doesn't even have to be a luxury life, but just like a humane, dignified life. Then that's when you know that country is functioning properly. And it will have next generation take things and get them even better and better and better. But we have so much like greed and everybody just thinking about, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of let this work for me. This system works for me as it is, and I don't care how it doesn't work for. That's like that, like the good situations, education which actually looks to be disruptive. Like now you're finding people finding other disruptive ways for them to learn them. Some people have decided they're not going to school, so they become apprentices. They'll do the online classes. They'll get these different experiences. They work, and they learn and they become good. But they shouldn't have had to go through all that if system was designed well. Yeah.
I want to ask you this question. What is that responsibility that a student has or that they can do that the institution cannot give them?
That's another good question, which can be answered so many different ways. Every human being, like, okay, we can start from the deep level, then now we go up. Every person needs to discover who it is there, who's there. So that relationship with you and God, so that you discover this is the person who created me, and you start to uncover, I think this is what you have created me for. I think that one is on you. They say my sheep know my voice. Like, because your destiny is going to be given to you. Like we talked earlier about how like my parents are amazing, like they've supported me every which way. But there's been times when even them, they've been worried about the decisions I've made. Like there's jobs. I remember I turned down a job at the UN to work for some weird design company.
What?
But I knew.
UN?
Yeah. But I knew this direction I'm taking my life based on what I think God is showing me and the way I've seen my gifts unfold from when I went to uni, from before that, the gap year. There's a journey that I've been going on that I just knew this job, as much as it's a prestigious job, this is not a job that is going to be able to develop me into what I can become.
You and UN.
There's even agency jobs I've turned down just because I knew, I'm not really going to be able. And now, fast forward all these years later, it has worked out for the best. Like all this illustration work you've seen me do, not a single time did an agency allow me to do that.
How did you land with the Museum of Illusions? I think that was one of the biggest projects you've ever done. Like, it must have been fun.
Yeah. It was amazing. They were a really good client. They were the best client ever. Like if I'm listing my top ever clients, they've been one of the best. So their regional director is called Nika. Nika bought my artwork. There's a time Wasp and Sprout in Loresho. They were opening another space upstairs. So they had invited artists to bring their work or items to showcase. I took some work there. And she bought one of the artworks. So that was cool. I sold an art print to her. I think it was as far back as maybe 2017. So I had gone somewhere for lunch, Shamba Cafe. It was my first time and only time I've ever been there. And I bumped into her again. So yeah, we were talking kidogo. Then now again, after that Shamba Cafe, maybe like 3 months later, she now calls me. She's like, "Oh, Brian, I have this project. I think it will be a good project for you." And she tells me about, in fact, she invites me to come to the site. So we talk a little bit on the phone. Then I come to the place. I'm seeing how they're building the place, and she tells me what they want to do.
Or they were still under construction.
Yeah. Like the conversation with me started way earlier. They were still constructing. So I've seen the space and I've heard about what they want, and they know, because they're an international franchise. They have like 55 branches all over the world.
Wow.
But they've learned also from some mistakes they made. Like I said, there's some branches in other parts of the world where they designed them the same way, and the locals rejected it. They felt like, this thing is foreign. It didn't feel like us. So that's when they started putting a bit of each place they're in. So if you went to the Museum of Illusions in Joburg, you'll see it has a Joburg vibe. This one in Nairobi needs to have a Nairobi vibe. And part of the people to bring that Nairobi vibe is me. So they've shown me the space, I've measured, I've seen, okay, this is the space, this is what it looks like, these are some of the ideas you have. So now I go away and I start creating. Yeah, so that's another lesson I also learned. Always do your own measurements. Because there's the measurements that are in the architectural drawing, but when you get there, some things change by a meter or two, and that affects a lot. Like the drawing now suddenly was not in perspective. So now the last 2 weeks, you're changing things to fit perspective, adding stuff. Yeah, but they're amazing. Because the reason I rate them so highly as a client is because in every successful project, there's the role of the creative, but there's also the role of the client. And sometimes there are some clients who think, see, you're the designer, you're the creative, you create it. But they also have a role to play. And Nika and her team played their role perfectly.
They did their part.
I do the drafts. We have a meeting. They give me feedback on that. I go do more things. We have a meeting. They give me feedback on that. They participated in that creative process. And that's, I think, why the thing that came out in the end has made them happy, and I'm happy it's also made.
I would have really loved to delve into how creatives behave in the industry, because I think there was a mentor, his name is Steve Biko. He does marketing. I think it's Crestwood Marketing. He was telling me how sometimes we don't get opportunities because of the things that we do outside of our actual work. For example, somebody might not give you a project because you're late, or they might not give you a project because of how you speak. Not really like accent, but the attitude or stuff like that. I would have loved to get into that. Maybe we can have another conversation.
No problem. Yeah.
On creatives, but that has been an amazing journey. Like, how do you even but if I can look at it, I'm just going back to how you started on cartoons, and stuff like that. Things you loved to express yourself in. So it's a whole journey of expression. Like, you would just say, go out there and do your thing, man. Whichever profession that you're in.
Nah, it's been amazing. And even like, that's kind of even what I was answering before. Like, there's the first part, every student, know yourself, know who you are, whose you are. And then after that, get to recognize what gifts you have. And then put those gifts into practice for fun. Give, be of service. Don't be selfish and stick with your gift like this. Like give it, use it. That's how you'll meet people. That's how you'll also learn. Like, you'll grow, you'll make mistakes. Like, there's mistakes I made in school. And it's better I made those mistakes in school than now. Imagine you do something and make a mistake with a paying client. That now becomes something else. But be open to where your journey takes you. Like, it's good to have a dream and to believe that dream can happen. So important, because nobody else can believe for you. You have to believe for yourself. And then goals might change. Like, I used to think I wanted to work as a character designer, like those guys who work on animations. I watch Shrek. Now animations, it's like the norm to be at Shrek level. But Shrek was the first where we saw live action, like 3D, not live action, 3D animations just being like, whoa. So I thought, I think I want to do that. Hey, I worked in a game company, Facebook game company. Character design didn't come naturally. I thought. But then I thought, okay, I'm an artist. Now let me use the digital stuff to create art. And I discovered there's guys who are hired as artists to create art that they'll use, whether it's as a mural or on merchandise or as part of an advertising campaign. So it all just came from that. Yeah, like what you're saying. You just explore. That's the thing that students now need to do. Like, especially creatives. Do the stuff you're already curious about. Those things you're passionate about. Because when you're doing it for yourself, you can be as creative as you want. Before a client will hire you to do something creative and amazing, they have to see it kidogo in your portfolio. And sometimes you'll go through many years where you're just frustrated, like clients want it to be the normal, boring way, or a way that you find boring. Like I normally complain about how billboards in Nairobi are very boring. It's the same typical thing. Picture, text, logo at the bottom. Picture, text. So I've been growing up wondering, why can't they just allow illustration sometimes or photo manipulation? But slowly by slowly, they'll come that day you'll get your chance. And then now you, like what you're saying, as Steve Biko said, like growing also as a person, like do you keep time? Do you keep your word? Have you known how to manage your creative process such that you're not telling people a week when you know it's going to be like 6 weeks or 2 months? All those things you learn kind of with experience. And therefore, you trust that when things, I think if a job like Museum of Illusions came to me 5 years ago, I would have fumbled it for sure, badly. So you needed that time, you needed those learnings. But it's funny, these things that I've given, those environments, like even being a lecturer, like I don't know if my students know this, but even when I started teaching Photoshop, I was kind of mediocre in Photoshop. I became better the more I was teaching it. Because now you have to practice something, then you come to class, now you look like an expert.
So the way you get is by giving.
Yeah, I believe that, 100%.
There's I think in one of the interviews we were having with Fladwell here, he said that life is not like a straight line.
Yeah.
So in your journey, what are some of those mistakes that have costed you opportunities? Like big time.
Wow. I think my biggest one is time.
Okay.
I have grace for myself. Like I'm not, thankfully, I'm not like holding it over my head. But if I wanted to, I could because of time, I've missed out on some big things.
What do you mean time? Like
especially early on, you'll tell someone, it will be ready in 2 weeks. You take like 6. There's even one project. Luckily, that project didn't die. But I put that guy through so much stress. Like, it was a really big project. It was the biggest project of my career at that time. I think it was as far back as 2014, I think. So I had done work. There's a gallery that had just opened, Shift Eye. So Shift Eye had an exhibition where they wanted people who do work on paper. So my work qualified. Then I was introduced to a lady called Juliana. Juliana was one of the founders at iHub, Ushaidi. Now she's at Safaricom. So she's like, I like this artwork, but can you change it to match our office colors, red? I'm like, no problem. So now I'm going to deliver. She gives me the number of one of her colleagues called Declan. So I'm going to meet Declan at their office. I'm seeing her, I'll bring the work. But now as Declan is talking to me, I'm realizing, these guys want me to do murals and decoration for the whole office. Wow. So I'm just acting normal, like, no problem, I can handle it. Now we start that process of creating. I do the first draft, then they give me changes. Those changes I took long. Then I give them a second draft, which was more typography based. They didn't like it. So between now that second draft and the third draft, I took so long that I even thought the project is dead. I was more or less living my life, moving on. But then I felt so guilty, like, Brayo, just finish. At least that feeling of just finish. So I finished and I sent, just have it, even if you have it for free. I was feeling bad that I didn't finish for you guys. Next thing, Declan is like, fantastic, job done. Send it to the guy. So I'm like, what? So now it got sent to print and then they actually put it up. But that was the one that ended well. But there are many that have ended badly. Like Even during COVID, there's a project I think I missed out on $2,000 because I was late, and also things like learning to communicate. Like I have this thing where, okay, I've grown out of it now, but sometimes you feel like you don't want to tell the client bad news. You want to talk to them when you have something positive to report. But sometimes it's important to just tell people the truth. This is where it's at right now. I know I told you 3 days, but I've seen it's going to take 2 weeks. Just be straight and then let them decide. So I've learned, like, you have to be honest, you have to manage your time well, you have to communicate. Like, communicate.
Communication.
Don't wait till the last day to then tell them, hey, by the way, blunder. No, like, communicate. So yeah, time management was a tough. And then also, I mean, there's probably so many different things, like trusting the wrong people or staying in places. Like, there's companies where I should have left earlier than I did. Another one, sometimes a company is like a dream. Like, you, when you started your career, you're like, this is a dream client. I'd love to work with this person. And then one day they contact you. And then you don't go through the usual process you go through where you're qualifying clients. Because sometimes creatives think when a client contacts you, it's you to prove yourself to them. Yeah, pick me. I've have this experience. I've done this much stuff. I'm this qualified. But it's two-way street. You're also trying to qualify them. Okay, so what's your brief? Have you planned the budget? Have you done? I didn't go through that process. Me, I just went straight to, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I'm excited. Like, that process I learned the hard way because it didn't work out. And now looking back, I could have noticed some red flags about them if I was going through my process. So every time I ignore those things, you learn the hard way.
Well, it's funny how you only realize how bad it is after the damage has already happened.
Yeah. And I think that's why now I just have grace for myself because it's not like this is the fourth time I've done live. Yeah. This is the first time.
The first time. True.
So there are things which I don't know. Like we're all just figuring it out. You know, it's like Blinky Bill. Everybody's winging it. Yeah.
And you would realize that maybe next time now you come out better and
Yeah. Everything is research and development. Right. You just learn and then you do better the next time.
Final question that I have for you today. How can someone leverage on their degree if they are working outside their field? So I have a degree, but I want to do something else. Okay. But I still want this degree to work for me. How do I leverage?
So I don't know if the degree will work for you. It's more the experiences you had in that degree. So maybe, like, I actually have a cousin who's working as a project, and she was explaining to me, like, this has nothing to do with what you studied. But let me tell you something. When you start and finish something, that says a lot to the prospective employer. It tells me this is someone who's committed. They start something, they finish it off. And it's not to say that people who dropped out are failures. There are times when a dropout is a smart thing to do when you've discovered, I need to pivot to something else. Right. But, like, if you finish something, it says something. Like, especially to the generation older than us. They really value people who've gone through an educative experience. Because school isn't just that subject you are learning. It's you maturing as a person. Right. I'm sure when you are around your friends, even maybe you had roommates who weren't taking care of themselves, wanakula sijui aje, their clothes are all over. Yeah. Suddenly you learned, this is why my parents want me to eat vegetables and tidy my room. Right. Sometimes you learn from them punishing you, but sometimes you learn from seeing other people who are doing things I don't know how. Or even yourself. You enter a phase of eating badly, you feel your gut health is bad, then you learned. Now you're like, okay, let me now eat better. So don't underestimate, like, what it says that you finished and you graduated. Right. But the part which you can leverage is, what are some experiences you had? Like, there are times when you had to be a problem solver. Are there times when you're the idea person? Like, we're in a brainstorm group meeting, ideas are flat, guys are shy. You're the guy who, you make things spark.
Spark guy, yeah.
Maybe you're the guy who's good at leadership. Conflicts would happen and you get people to work together. You encourage people to keep going even. So leverage all those experiences, not just what you studied in class. Leverage, talk about those different experiences. Are there clubs? were you part of um, like some maybe sports or whatever where you displayed leadership, where you those are the things now that you can leverage for this next opportunity you're trying.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think I wouldn't have seen it that way, because so many people would want to think that that paper or that certificate is the thing that they are looking for out there. But it's really
It's
about
what
the
you gained, how you've
experiences.
transformed, and you see it in yourself. And I used to see it also in my classmates. Like you see this person and they joined, and then who they are now, miles apart. Like there's something that happens when you become enlightened. Even the way you look at your problems, the way you look at the world, all these things start to change. That's why education is so important. Like it helps us not think that it's doom and gloom. You still feel you have options even when your back is against the wall. Um, so yeah, like there's yeah, and also I guess the last thing I'll say is it's normal to get a lot of rejections. Like and even just getting used to that mindset of being told no, you have to get used to that. Like sometimes you could apply 10 times and not get a reply from everyone. Sometimes you could apply 30 times and only get 2 responses. It's to understand that sometimes that's the normal part of the process. You know, there could be seasons where you're applying many times, you're not getting any response. And then there'll be times when you're getting too many responses. Then you have to decide, I'll say yes to this one and say no to the other 6. Yeah. So at the beginning, sometimes, especially if you're introverted, it can be really daunting to be like, I call strangers and ask them. I go to a networking event and talk to someone I don't know. It doesn't mean you go to that event and talk to 12 people. You might just talk to 2 people who you felt like you had some camaraderie, and push past that feeling of like a lot of it is pushing past your comfort zones. And as you do it more and more, you become used to it. There was a time I'd be so shy even just to be in a room of strangers. Like when you're going to places, you're calling 1, 2, 3 of your best friends as we go, so we go. Then if there's no one to go, even if you really wanted to go for that thing, you end up not going. So push yourself past your comfort zone, shoot shot, like don't even acknowledge the no's. Just move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and be relentless in that pursuit. And that's when you'll just look at it, hey, after a year, look at all this growth, all these opportunities that came.
I think I love that part. Don't acknowledge the no's, and you show up. Show up regardless, show up excited, show up prepared. Thank you so much, Brian, for this amazing session. I've learned so much. I think there are so many things I would have loved to exhaust, so many things. There are so many things we need to unpack, particularly upper core industry, because I love revolution and what you're talking about, disruptive thinking. We've not gotten to the part of human centered design and stuff like that, how particularly in the Kenyan market, vis-a-vis, if I look at people like Akina Paula Shah and what they're doing on the other side, and creatives on the other side, the future and the creatives that side, and what does design mean for Kenya, stuff like that. So many things to learn, but I promise this will not be the last. It's the first, and yeah, I can't wait to have more discussions and conversations.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Karibu, karibu.